really good. I see the comments coming through now, which is fantastic. So this is going to work out great, everyone. So just bear with us here. You got Tom and I, and thank God for Carrie. I would never mention this live to anyone, but she is the one that saves our rear end. So good evening. Welcome to Sober Talk. You're here because you want to get sober, you need to get sober, or perhaps you're just sober curious, whatever the reason. We are glad you're here. How do you know if you have a drug or alcohol problem? Simple, if it causes problems. I think we got some people here that can attest to that. I have quit and restarted a ton of times myself. I am coming up, I guess legally tomorrow will be 1 year of freedom, as I call it, sobriety, but I call it freedom for a lot of reasons. Just got to get through tonight, which I'm going to do because of this group and everyone, the support. And then I do have to get through this weekend. The Super Bowl was not good to Jeff's liver last year. So we're going to make sure that doesn't happen again this year. So I got a lot of people calling me in my sleep, and I greatly appreciate all the help here with that. We are not doctors. We are a sobriety support group. If you are thinking about getting sober or quitting alcohol or drugs, I know with the benzos, a lot of that can be very messy, medically speaking. Strongly suggest you get with a physician, your general practitioner. There are support groups everywhere. Carrie's got some great links in here. Our resource page, I think the resource page on the Sober Talk, just main page, has got all the numbers on that stuff. So don't do this alone. Rehab is the safe way to go. Plus, they make it so much more comfortable for you. So a lot going on today. I had some good news and some bad news. The good news is Tom Mabe, a friend, requested me today, which I was so thrilled that he did that. I was so excited, and I accepted his friend request. The bad news is I just somehow sold my grandchildren to some man who I can't understand his pronunciation of his name. But other than that, it's been a great day. So I'm going to put these guys on so I can read a little bit. I've got a guest here who I think is in his early 20s, James, but I heard him speak not too long ago the other day, and he just had too much wisdom. I want to get this guy on. We're going to pick his brain tonight. James, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sure can.
Welcome to Sober Talk. Glad to have you. James, you're what, 24, 25?
Plus about 40.
Plus about 40. Well, yeah. We're glad you're here. So, James, how long have you been sober? You got a good deal under your belt, don't you?
Yeah, I've been sober since 8/8/08.
8/8/08. That's awesome. I know you you're a life coach to a lot of people, a sponsor to some. We're going to pick your brain tonight because there's a lot of people, including myself, that need some answers. And I told everyone that you were a guarantee, a lock, that you had all the answers, and this problem was going to be solved for all of us. We don't have to have any. We can go back to drinking normally after James sets us straight on this. So we're all excited to hear that, James.
Hey, Jeff, let me know how that works out for you.
Yeah, exactly. It's worked out so well in the past for me. I just figured maybe this one would be the one time that this one would be different from that. James, if you know, I come from an AA background, but this Sober Talk Live is about anything and everything that works. I've always joked that I will, if someone tells me that snail juggling would work, I'd listen to them. I'm going to pick the best solutions out of anything I can hear and apply them to my life. So we are non-denominational as far as the program. I don't know. Have you ever heard, James, a book called Rational Recovery? I think the guy's name was Trimpey or something like that.
I've heard of the book. I've heard of Rational Recovery. I do CR too, which is Celebrate Recovery. I got a coin from them at 1 year. I could have got a 2 year, but the COVID has kind of cut us apart. But I became a grateful believer in Jesus Christ a couple of years ago because I'm also suffering from, I guess you'd say I'm recovering from religion.
We've got a lot of recovering Catholics. I always hear that term on here. So The rational recovery thing, the thing I liked about it, he is not a 12-step program, but he kind of identified, instead of beating yourself up over why you make the decisions, and I'm going to ask you these questions here in a second, but he kind of puts his inner voice, I guess, the bad guy, he calls it the beast. And basically his thought is that, inside of us, I'll just take Jeff Graham, for example. Jeff does not want to hurt his family. Jeff does not want to get a DUI tonight. Jeff doesn't want to lose his marriage. Jeff doesn't want to do a lot of things. Jeff doesn't want to run his truck into a kid that runs out in the street tonight because I'm busy, trying to focus on my beer in my hand. But I got something inside of me that doesn't give a crap about any of that stuff. Its whole survival is based upon getting me to put alcohol into my mouth. It's going to tell me anything I want to hear. It's going to play on every emotion I have, good, bad, happy, sad, whatever. It's going to look for any crease in my armor, any weak spot to get in and somehow convince me that's how it survives, is to get me to drink. And I've got to, that whole thing with rational recovery, his philosophy is you identify that as, that's not me. That's this bad beast or whatever you want to call it inside. I've heard the whine bitch. I've heard all sorts of names for it. But if I can identify it, I can put a face on it. I can put it on the other side of the fence, and now I know who I'm doing battle with. So it was an interesting concept. And I grabbed that. Again, I'm looking for anything and everything, but I'm going to start with the question for you is, it's a Friday night, James. I know that if I drink tonight, I'm going to piss my wife off. I know if I drink tonight, I'm going to risk a DUI. I'm going to hurt my kids. I'm going to I'll be lousy at my job tomorrow. There's all sorts of problems that will happen if I drink tonight. So tell me, why do I have an inner voice in me that is telling me I want to drink so badly, knowing that nothing but crap is going to happen? Why am I wanting to drink if I know that's the case?
All I can tell you is I call it alcoholism, because that's what I've dealt with all my life. When I first started drinking, I didn't plan on becoming an alcoholic. When I first started drinking, I didn't plan on getting DWIs. When I first started drinking, I didn't plan on pissing off the family. But progression of the disease, little by little, I didn't drink. The drink took me, if you understand what I'm saying. It got to the point to where no amount of alcohol would satisfy me. And once that alcohol is in me, I become that beast you're talking about. It gets unleashed, and I can't control it. So I know today that I just cannot consume alcohol or drugs in any form or fashion, because a buddy of mine told me it's not the caboose that kills you when you get run over by a train. It's the engine. It's that first drink. For me, I just have to stay away from that first drink, and all the rest is gravy from there. Once I got the program in my life, once I got the sober network in my life, life's good.
Yeah, the one that someone said to me that really made sense is, all I got to do is can I just not drink one beer tonight? And that doesn't sound hard, just to not drink one. I just don't have to drink one beer. Yeah, as long as it's the first one, then I'm good. Then I don't have to worry about the temptations of 2, 3, 5, 12, 27, and so on. Those won't come into play, and I don't have to fight the craving for all those other beers if I can just resist one lousy beer.
Yeah, but there's always that both sides of the coin. When you're talking about the craving, that happens after you take the drink. There's that mental obsession, which leads to that first drink. And that mental obsession is that euphoric recall that you get about those wonderful summer days you had drinking on the lake, that beautiful time you had with that gal in the back of that 57 Chevy, things like that. And it creates that delusion that you can sit down and have that one beer or that one drink and you can feel that that peace and ease and comfort that comes with it, and that when you're ready to stop, you can stop. And that's the delusion that every alcoholic falls into, is believing that he can somehow control his drinking, enjoy and control his drinking. And I know today that I can't. It took
So
me.
if I'm wanting to quit drinking, I've got two parts to it. I've got the desire to have the first beer, and then I also have the physical to have the second through 47 beers.
That's exactly it. So the first thing, a lot of people do treatment. I always had to get locked up to get treatment. I'm the kind of guy, when I start drinking, I drink until the blue lights come on and they lock me up, and I am completely locked away from alcohol for enough period of time for my brain to somehow regenerate enough to say, my gosh, you've done this again. You know you can't do it. You have to find a way not to take that first drink. And I met a guy in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous that showed me a way to do that. I couldn't stay sober for a whole week. He told me that he would sponsor me. He'd take me through this book, and this book would get me in touch with this power that would solve all my problems. And it was on a Friday. And he said, you come to my house on Thursday and we'll get started. And I said, my God, man, how do I make it till Thursday?
So you had your first night was a Friday night.
Right. And I'm thinking, I want to drink tonight, and he told me to do these 5 simple things. He said, if you'll do these 5 simple things, he said, I believe you'll show up at my house next Thursday.
Okay, well, that's perfect, because that's what I want to hear, because we get a lot of people on the show that are trying, you hear all the time working about your your inner problems, what's causing you to drink, all that stuff. And I can totally relate. I feel like I don't care about that. I got to get through the next 8 hours without drinking, working on why my childhood trauma from being picked last on the kickball team doesn't matter to me when I'm tonight staring at a temptation to drink. So what are the 5? How do you do it?
Well, for me, and this is the way he put it to me. He said, it was later in the afternoon. He said, James, do you think you can drive home and hit your knees and thank God that you were sober today, and wake up in the morning and do these things? And I thought, okay, I can do that. I can go home and hit the bed because it's late. And the 5 things he told me to do, he said, tomorrow morning when you get up, the first thing you do is pray. And he said, you ask God whatever you think God is. He said, if it's karma, spirit of the universe, good orderly direction, he said, I don't care what it is. He said, you ask to stay sober today. And he said, and then he said, when you get up, he said, read something out of a meditation book, something, Jesus Calling, One Day at a Time, something out of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, something that'll let you know that you're trying not to drink today. And he said, and then you go about your business. And he said, and when you get done with work or whatever your business is, he said, you find a group of sober alcoholics to meet with. You can do that at a meeting. You can do it with the fellowship, with friends, with whoever. He said, and after you leave there, when you get home or you get where you're going, he said, you pick up your phone and you call and you ask how they're doing. Did they get home okay? Are they, do they feel like they need to take a drink? Because you're there to talk to them if they do. And he said, and if you do those 4 things, he said, I believe you'll be at home sober and able to hit your knees and thank God that you stayed sober another day. And I did those things. And the next week, I made it to Thursday and got to his house, and we started this program of recovery. And I still do those 5 things today to the best of my ability, because it's not what I did yesterday, and it's not what I'm going to do tomorrow that keeps me sober. It's what I do today. I'm sitting here in my house right now, and Carol's with me. She's one of the people in my sober network that I can't do this alone. Greg's over here. Greg. He comes to the meetings and stuff. Me and him go through the big book together. He's here tonight. That's the way I live my life today. is I've chose this new way of life. And in doing that, it came with a new set of people, with a new way of living, a new way of approaching things. And I stick to those things. I'm never perfect at it, but as long as I do the best I can at it on a daily basis, I find myself able to hit my knees every night and thank God for staying sober that day.
Two questions. The easy one is, talking to people, which I think is talking to other alcoholics is that's my saving grace. I mean, that's why I'm sitting here right now. Because if I wasn't, I'd be out listening to my self-talk, and that's not a good person. I've never had good ideas. I'm not a good one to listen to. I've tried listening to myself, and I can tell you stories where that's gotten me. So talking to other alcoholics. But someone asked last night, where this is not, I come from an AA background. I know you are, but there's a lot of people that are not AA are just looking. I was asked last night, where do you find a sponsor? And I know sponsor is kind of an AA term. That's probably AA lingo, at least to me that is. But I guess that could be a coach, a sobriety coach. But where do you find, for someone that's looking tonight, needs to talk to someone?
Somebody in your life that you see that seems that you would love to be living life the way they are. They seem to be able to handle those moments of distress with a little bit of grace and peace. They seem to respond to people instead of react to people. They don't seem to get offended by small things that you would feel would offend you, and you're wondering how can they stay so calm and seem so peaceful. Those people that you see that you would like to be living life there the way they are, reach out to them. Just walk up, say, hey, my name is so and so. I'm glad to meet you. And people who truly care about other people, they're going to respond. They're going to say, well, my name's so and so. And talk to them and say, hey, I'd like to know how you live life the way you do.
I know that if anyone came up to me, I would welcome them and talk to them with open. I would love it, but I don't feel that anyone's going to feel that way when I approach them. Which is, I guess we gotta, ask, how would you feel about it?
But that's our alcoholism. That's how we are. We're the kind of people that feel that way. And like you said, oh, well, I don't think that if I approach somebody, they're going to be happy that I approached them. And see, we've already set up expectations on who that person is and how they're going to react when we have no way of knowing. And that's part of our disease, is that we judge other people. We set up expectations for ourselves and others. We think we know things that we don't. And the only way to break down those walls is to get out there and try. Okay, so maybe the first guy says, I'm okay, my name's so-and-so, but I really ain't got time to talk. Reach out to somebody else. There's a lot of people out there. But the one thing I know today is there are enough groups, whether it's Celebrate Recovery or AA or NA or whatever the problem is, there's enough recovery groups to be able to go to. You don't have to admit you're an alcoholic to come to Alcoholics Anonymous. All you got to do is to have a desire not to drink today, and we'll welcome you with open arms, and you can become a part of the fellowship until you decide whether or not you feel like you're an alcoholic.
It's funny you say that, because a lot of I hear people so caught up on the term alcoholic and admitting I'm an alcoholic, and I was the same thing, having to say that. But I think what just made it easier was, I don't care what word you use. The bottom line is, when I put alcohol into my system, my body reacts a certain way. I can't change that. I can say what word, I can call myself a butterfly. I don't how to describe it. That doesn't matter to me. But the fact I can't change is, when I start drinking, my body does things that other people's don't.
True. And you know what? And in the beginning, I thought just not drinking would be good enough for me, that I could smoke a little pot. I was a big pothead growing up. You know, I love marijuana.
I can tell. I can tell.
But through
Still a little residual there, but that's okay. Baby steps.
yeah, through my how would you want to call it, research and development, I found out that when I smoke pot, I get thirsty. And I don't get thirsty for a cup of coffee. I get thirsty for a tall Budweiser, you know? So eventually, along the way in my recovery, I found out that I couldn't smoke weed anymore. It's all a very self-searching and self-identifying thing. You know, you got to be willing to admit to yourself who you are, and that takes help. A lot of people use therapy. I know people in AA that still do therapy. You know, I know people in AA who have a spiritual advisor outside of an AA, a priest or a pastor, their minister at their church. It's just all about finding people who are looking for the same thing you are, a better way of living. You know?
I found that when the key for me is admitting to someone else things that, you know, I don't even want to admit myself, because I am so good at burying emotions, denying stuff to myself, very good at hiding it to everyone else. But I'm learning that I can't, unless I admit them to myself, something that's bothering me or a way I feel. I can try to act like a tough guy. That accomplishes nothing. That does not change what's inside of me. And if I can admit it and talk about it, it gets it out. And that is a key, because not admitting it, not talking about it, not discussing it with someone I trust, all that does is internalize it and keep it in here, where it's just going to fester, and it will come out at some point, one way or another, either in a positive or more than likely a really, really crappy way.
I understand that. I'll tell you, and maybe this is going to dive a little deep, but this is the only way I know how to put it. If I could have ever changed myself, if I could have ever changed the way I drank, the way I reacted to others, I would have done so. And even in the program, I know a lot of people say they're working on their character defects. I gave all that crap up. If I could have ever changed my character defects or gotten rid of my character defects, I would have. And whatever you choose to call power greater than yourself, I call it God. Okay. That's how I've come to change. I started working on a relationship with the God of my understanding. And in doing that, I've changed. And it seemingly has nothing to do with me. It's just a new way of life. It's like you were talking about. When I get those terrible thoughts, I can't quit getting them. I wish I could. If I could change that, I would. But I can't seem to. So every time I get those terrible thoughts, I admit to myself I got them. I tell another individual and God that I have them. And if I made harm or to somebody, I make an amends. If I stole, I make a financial amends. I do whatever. Through those actions, something happens and I change and I quit having those terrible thoughts. I quit having those behaviors. But for me, it's all about working on my relationship with the God of my understanding.
So James, we're jumping into the tough one, and you've been since '08, which is incredible, but you've I'm sure dealt with people that really struggle with the God thing. And that's the 3-letter word is God. And that's the one that's polarizing. And this, you know, I want sober talk. We can all do this thing. So how do you handle that? Because there are people that are, and I'm not here to convert it. That's not my thing. I want people to be happy and sober. It's just, we got to find a way to do it. So, you know, if
you can call it karma, karma can be your God. I'm telling you, karma is one of those, I think it's a 5-letter word, BIT. You know what I mean? If I do something bad usually happens to me. Maybe not right away, but it happens later. if I reach out my hand and do something good for somebody, it seems like maybe even right away or sometimes days later, something good comes my way. You can call it karma if you want.
That's a great point.
Or good orderly direction. When I'm living my life with some good orderly direction, I don't end up in jail. When I'm living my life with some good orderly direction, the people around me usually aren't in collusion with me or in collision with me. They're usually not upset with me and angry and stuff like that. So you can call it anything you want, but I think all of us, we talk about it in the program, deep down inside, there's something there. Call it your own conscience, if you will, but most people who go out and they harm another individual, deep down inside, they feel it and they feel that they've done something wrong. And then the shame and the guilt and all that is what causes them to bury it with a drink or a pill or to go into a depression and stay at home or whatever.
You've been reading my journal again, haven't you?
Yeah.
Because that's my life.
I've learned to forgive myself, and how did I do that? I got a relationship with this power greater than myself that helps me today to not only forgive myself, but to forgive others. Forgiveness is a big thing. I know people, that sounds kind of corny, but walking around holding a grudge is all that's going to do is cause you to be angry all the time. Plotting revenge. I plot revenge against my boss in my head every day. I don't know why. But then I go and I tell people about it, which is admitting to myself, to another individual, and that higher power I believe in. And when I go to bed that night, I pray about it and I think about how I treated my boss and did I do something wrong? Do I owe an amends? Should I apologize? And in doing that, it seems to get better. I can't tell you why. It's a mystery. I mean, I've been sober for as long as I have, and I take no credit for it, because I couldn't do it on my own. It comes from the people I'm around, the actions I take that were given to me out of a book, it sounds crazy, but it works. I mean, that's the only way I can put it. I was living in my sister's basement at one time, and I'd been down there about a week, and I come out of the basement to, because she found me sleeping in my car on the side of the street. And she said, come on in, our basement's finished. You can stay there, I'm not going to see you sleeping out here on the street. And I was like, okay, I was like, I don't have any place to go. So I'm down there about a week and sobering up a little bit, and I figure I'll go upstairs and talk to her. So I go upstairs and she's in the kitchen doing dishes. And I walk in, and I start to kind of help her do dishes. And I start to strike up a conversation with her. And she looks me dead in the eyes and says, I won't see you sleep in the gutter, but I damn sure don't have to associate with you. Now that's where my life went. And today that sister loves me. I'm at her house on all the holidays. She calls and talks to me when she's got a problem. I can call her with anything. I'm sitting in my own home tonight with wonderful friends. I got a great job. You don't get from there to here by thinking. You just don't. It takes action. And I had no more strength right now. But the only way I can put it is, but by the grace of God, I found the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. And that program, I'm a retread. I stayed sober for a year and drank. I stayed sober for 5 years and drank. I've been at this, 20 some years, and I finally have been on this 13-year stretch. Hell, I might drink tomorrow, but I know today I didn't. And I know why I didn't. Because I got up this morning, I hit my knees, I asked God to keep me sober. I picked up the Jesus Calling book, read a small meditation out of it, and went to work like I'm supposed to. Good, orderly direction. And when I got off work, I planned on going to a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous or meeting with some of my sober friends. And I did. They're sitting right here. And I chimed in on a sober talk show. And I know that when this is over, I'm going to be one happy and peaceful person. I'm going to hit my knees and thank God for the day I had and get a good night's sleep. And I'll stay sober today. And that's what it is for me. It's one. People carry these 10. My sponsor got me this beautiful 10-year coin. I don't even carry it around with me. It lays on a mantle. I got a little $1 chintzy 24-hour-a-day coin and a little bitty cross that I carry in my pocket every day. One is to remind myself of what somebody did for me. And two is to remind me how I found that power. You know, Jesus Christ, my Savior, God, my Father, and the program of Alcoholics Anonymous that gave me a way to have that personal relationship. That's about the only way I know how to put it.
James, I got this nice soundboard by Tom Mabe, COD, of course, but I've been wanting to hit this button for a long time.
Hey, I got enough problems with ego and all that crap. You don't need no applause.
Well, I'm going to let you go, but thank you so much for coming on. A lot of people in the comments are loving what you hear. Probably going to have you back on now that you figured out how to turn your computer on. All by yourself, by the way. No one in the background helped you at all.
Yeah. Hey, I got support just like you got support.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. Need it. All right, buddy. I will talk to you soon. Thanks so much for coming on. You have a great evening, okay?
Hey, Jeff, thanks for the opportunity. I really enjoyed it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, we'll have you back. That's for sure. All right, buddy. Take care. We'll see you. That was James, local guy from Cincinnati here. He's got that's a brain we got to tap into quite a bit. So I got another guest, Jen. Welcome. You're from where? You're out West Coast, aren't you?
No, I live in Charlotte, North Carolina now, but I'm not from here.
Close. I was just off by 2,500 miles. You know, Jen, I wanted to, thanks for coming on. I wanted to tell you my good news today. With a phone, if you have a, take with a check, I can take a picture with my phone for direct deposit.
Yeah.
Do you know how many times I sat there and got the message, stop shaking, hold it steadier? I'm not kidding. I had that thing where I had to try and rest my hands to deposit my check, and they were shaking, and it was staying steady. I can't remember the exact words, but it was basically, it called me every name in the book.
You're old.
I did a check deposit the other day, and it took without it's those are the little things, I've said it before. I can eat soup these days without wearing half of it. I'm shaking. So anyways, did you get to listen to James?
I did. And you know what? I love seeing somebody with really steady long-term sobriety and hearing how they got that and how they stay there. I have found sobriety not through AA or the program, as a lot of people like to call it. In the beginning,
what was your path?
I mean, it's been a little bit of everything. For a long time, my path was refusing to do AA, and I don't mean this disrespectfully. And I've spent a lot of time thinking about it because it is and has been a good, consistent, respected path to sobriety, but it just wasn't something that was going to work for me when I needed it.
Well, tell me, because this fascinates me, because I'm an AAer, but I didn't know really any other options. I thought if you wanted to get sober, the only program out there was AA. Now it did work for me, but
so I had I had the opportunity to do some inpatient, really intense inpatient hospitalization at a mental wellness facility that focused on dual diagnoses. So I suffer from depression and anxiety, it was not like your typical rehab situation. You were not there with other, residents that were just dealing with addictions. All of us had something else going on. And then one of the things that we were also struggling with, some of us, not everybody, were addictions. And so in that environment, that was kind of the one thing that was served up to us was the 12-step program, just because it works. It's organized. It's been around for a long time. All the doctors use it. Me being the stubborn asshole that I can be sometimes.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club.
It's like, no, I'm not doing this. And I kept telling my therapist, I was like, I don't like this. And I've got a lot of really good reasons why I didn't like it. And just some religious trauma in my history, and just for lack of a better, I just wanted more than the way that it's presented, and the way that it's presented, which is like, here's the AA big book, go to this meeting. They're saying the same things, all of this stuff. And it's hard to take when you're down and out and you're suffering from depression and addiction, and you already kind of have it stuck in your head that you don't want to hear it a certain way. You're not going to hear it. So I continued to say, I still did it. So I still went to the meetings. I still sat there in all of the, the addiction classes. But my therapist, I just kept saying, I don't like this. I don't want to do it. She gave me the 12, the big book. Then I was like, no. Then it was The Woman's Way to Recovery through AA. Because there are a lot of women out there who, originally AA was designed by men for men.
You read the book and it's very.
It is. So, for whatever reason, I have got history, and I've got trauma, and I have got really good reasons why the way that it's presented didn't resonate. I tried to look at the Buddhist way. They offered other things. There's smart recovery. And this was in 2019. Not as many resources as I've now found, but the good news is I kept being stubborn about it, which kept me looking for more and kept me wanting to find the way that it worked for me. And I wanted something bad enough that I was able to find it.
That's the key. That's the key is my program's not going to work for you necessarily, and vice versa. You have to tailor. It's a tailor fit suit to,
It's gotta be. And that is my big takeaway in the last so I'm almost 5 months this time. That hospitalization was 2019. I spent about 90 days sober. So I would say in active recovery, I'm going on a year and a half. And I have found what works. What I have since just learned in the last couple of weeks is the principles and the steps in AA are things that can be said a million different ways. If you simply just break each step down, you could get an alien from another planet and give them the definition of the words and say, what does this mean to you? They're basically just guidelines. It's 12 guidelines to what you need to be doing in order to get where you want to go. And for us in recovery, we want to be free of this monkey on our back. I loved James because, and I took some notes, and you asked him, what is it? What is it? And he basically said, look, it's the people I'm around and the actions that I take. And I think if you look at, if those are the things that you want to focus on in getting sober and recovery, there's all sorts of ways to do it. All sorts of ways. I
like pepperoni. Someone else likes sausage. It's right. Not, I can't convert you to like what I like. You're going to like what you like. And
you're right. And humans by nature, we want to, if something's worked for me and it's so great, of course I'm going to be like, Jeff, I want you to eat this pepperoni because it makes me feel so good and you have to have it, but you may never like it. And so I think what people get turned off by is not realizing that just because it's working that way for that person means it has to be the same thing for you. It doesn't. There at the end of the day, there's no rules. Have I been that person in those AA meetings that will say things like, Hi, my name is Jen and I'm sober. Yes, I have done that in an AA meeting and I have not felt bad about it. I'm not doing it to disrespect the history that's there and the concept behind somebody saying, my name is Jen and I'm an alcoholic. But for me, I want to put myself and my brain in a space where I am Jen and I am sober, and that's how it works. With anything
I don't want to go to a car dealership that sells only one model and they're all red.
Right.
I want to make a choice of which one of those I like. They all are going to get me where I want to go, but I want to find the one that I fit most comfortably in, that drives the way I want it to drive, that's going to be the easiest for me to handle and operate. I don't want, and again, I am an AAer. And they're the program worked great for me, but I am at the same time looking at every other options out there to model my car to make it more comfortable for me to drive.
Heated seats.
Yeah, exactly. I want to tailor it for me because I'm the one that's got to drive that car. I got to make sure that I am comfortable in it. I'm not going to want to get out of it and walk and drive. I'm going to use the car. I like being in the car. It does what I want for me, and it's gonna get me where I want to go. I need to tailor it for that.
Absolutely. And, for me personally, I needed to, because some things that I've gone on in my life, I've got a history of some abuse and just being, especially as a female, being in situations where I didn't feel like I had the power. Having the ability to choose and create my own path to sobriety using all the tools out there has given me all of that power back. And I do think just in the last couple of years, there are more and more recovery spaces allowing people to be creative and create what they want, taking what works for them, and then not, adhering to the strict rigidness of something that in my mind, if you really look at it, is a tiny bit outdated.
Again, when I look at what's worked for me, talking with people has been number one.
Connection.
Connection is huge. Got my boy in the background. Really is getting a new position. He's an old one. The warranty expired. Well, you got to make sure you're in the right spot. You
my dog doesn't
lay
say,
down. You got to check, because there could be all sorts of problems with this spot on the thing. You got to check every inch of that mat out, because it's over here that could be a problem. Now over here, that's okay.
Whoa!
Yeah, thank you. It's like, there we go, Billy. You did it. We're proud of you. Sorry about that. But, connection is, I'm sorry. Connection is number one. But for me also, planning. I have to have a plan. If I hope, I'm screwed. If I should be okay. It's like this weekend is, you heard is my 1 year.
What's your plan for this weekend? I've been thinking about you all week too.
Well, if you're on the Facebook page, hopefully everyone is, you'll see the alerts. We're going to do I'm going to start a Saturday morning, like an 8 o'clock deal. We're just going to see how that goes. But there's probably going to be some impromptu. I'm going to reserve the right. I don't care if no one gets on. I'll sit here and talk to Billy in the background. There's going to be some, Carl Boxers are known for circling under. Yeah. But there's going to be a lot of, I'm going to get on and just accountability. Are
you nervous about it?
No, I'm not. I'm actually not. But
okay.
I here's my point, Jen. When I was working today, I wasn't nervous about getting into a head-on collision. I wasn't nervous about getting nailed by a truck. I wasn't nervous about my car losing the wheels coming off the truck as I was driving it. But you know what I did today? I put on my seatbelt. I didn't worry. I was sure I was going to get home. I was going to get to my destination. It wasn't even crossed my mind that there could be a problem, because I was sure I'd be good, but I put my seatbelt on.
So I just wrote down, and I take a lot of notes when I'm doing different things and kind of put them together and go back and look at them. I just wrote down sober seatbelt.
Mm-hmm. It's insurance. That's exactly it. And it's one of those. I'm positive I'm not going to drink this weekend.
Are you going to be in an environment?
I can't guarantee. I'm not. I'm
Oh,
not.
yeah.
I'm gonna. You know what? Because I don't have the accountability with my wife being gone, kids, whatever. I have things lined out with some of my other kids. We're gonna have dinner. I've got activities, things lined up, because what I'm not gonna do is be sitting up on a Friday night at 7:00 in our living room. When we live 2 blocks away from a 7-Eleven or whatever, where I'm not going to be sitting there going, what am I going to do tonight? I will not give myself that idle time, and I will not wait till I'm at 7:00 on a Friday night to make a decision of, am I going to make a good choice or a bad choice? Because right then, all the good choice strength I had is so outnumbered at that point.
I was a big time idle time, downtime, catch up on you drinker. Like there were days where, and especially as my kids got older and I spent more time alone by myself, I'd be like, oh, it's 4:00. Nobody's around. I can do whatever I want. So I love that idea of having a plan. You have to. You have to have a plan.
When I rely on to let Jeff decide what's going to happen tonight, it ain't a good one. So, and I got and only because I know that Jen is a huge Diet Coke fan. I got plenty of the good stuff, Jen.
Oh,
ready?
I for me, it's gonna be. I keep thinking, what do I want from the Super Bowl? And if you're a drinker, it's like, oh, it's reason to drink your face off. But this year, I just really want to make a really good baked potato dip and just eat chips and dip.
That works for me. Do you DoorDash? I'll put the order right now.
Yeah, I think I might make my own and just
take 75 up to Cincinnati, and you're close. Well, look, I've got I got one someone I want to get to real quick, but I hope you'll come back.
Absolutely.
More. I'm going
to work on more sober seatbelts. I like that phrase.
Yeah, it's
leave it up to a dude to make a car analogy.
Thank you. Well, that goes without saying. Hey, you're the one that brought up cooking. Okay, so if we're going to do the stereotypes, of course, I'd rather be eating whatever you're making. I'd rather doing that than just sitting in a truck watching, putting my seatbelt on. I could go for some good food.
I love it. All right, stay
well,
sober.
Thanks so much, and take care. All right, we'll see you. See you, Jen. All right. Want to check in, Brent.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. I checked in with Brent via email or messenger earlier. I know you're part of the Sober Talk community, correct?
That's correct.
And you are an ex-military dude, which congrats. Thank you very much for everything you've done. Are you still active or reserve or anything?
No, I'm completely out as of 2016.
Okay, good deal. So where are you sobriety wise?
Right now, I'm actually on my 28th day. I'm almost close to the 30-day mark. I had some thoughts, tonight, where I was just like, I came this far. Why don't you, I was almost justifying that. And then I kind of stopped myself. I'm still in that mental headspace of getting past the 30-day hump, so that was a struggle.
That was my thing last year. The Super Bowl was 90 days, and my wife went out of town, and I deserve this. I've been kicking butt in this sobriety thing for 90 days.
Absolutely.
No one's gonna know she's out of town. Yeah. I'm just gonna have one final hurrah, and then I'll get it out of my system. And Monday morning, I'll be right back to where I was, and no one will know the difference.
Yeah, that'd be
great for me.
Yeah, it's about self-enforcement for sure.
So what are you doing different? I mean, so tell me the process. So your head starts throwing, hey, you're at 28 days, you're there, you did it, let's celebrate. How do you handle that?
Well, I mean, honestly, I have a little bit of a support group. I sort of made it very public on my Facebook profile, which I'm friends with many bartenders and the only bars I've ever went to. And, it's about almost being held accountable for that, even though, they can't do jack squat if I were to go in there and order something. I just know that, you know, I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at now. I'm held accountable by other people, my fiance, and just people around me.
You know, the one thing that I love what you said that kind of reminded me is I hid from emotions. Oh, I'm good. I'm not feeling that way. No, I'm not craving. Oh, I'm good. I'm feeling okay. And I would deny it to myself. Well, I can deny it all I want. Bottom line is it ain't going anywhere. I may deny it, but that's not going to make it go anywhere. And now I will not embrace them, but I will. Yeah, I'm drinking beer tonight sounds pretty damn good. And I got a voice that's telling me that. Well, I can bury that and hope that goes away. It ain't going to go away. I can cover it with a rug, but it's still under there, and it's not going. It's going to come back. I got to address it. I got to acknowledge it and go, okay, and call someone like you. Hey, Brent, man, I'm glad you answered because I'm feeling squirrely right now, and it sounded real good. Let's talk about it. And that's where bringing it out is the only way I can address it, and I can't beat it if I don't admit it and vocalize it and lay it on the table.
Absolutely.
And face it.
Yeah, because I know, like, I think you hinted at it earlier, you know, it does lead to so many other things. You know, I would drive drunk home all the time. Didn't care about it, you know, no matter where I was. I could be 10 miles away from home and try to take a gamble because I'd never been caught before and think that I can keep getting away with it. But I know that, you know, one day, inevitably, if I were to go ahead and try that again, you know, one of these days it would happen. And then that's something that could, you know, ruin your life for a good 8 to 10 years.
It's not a matter of if, it's when. For me,
absolutely. It is when.
It was. There's you have a better chance of winning the lottery than you do of driving as much as I did and not getting a DUI, driving drunk and not getting a DUI. I'm embarrassed to say that, but that's what this show's about, is being honest.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would drink, and then after the bars close, I'd go to the casino because they still have drinks. You know, and then that's another type of struggle. And then there's also other things like, how am I going to stay awake? Turn to narcotics.
Yeah, Jeff, are you drinking that Diet Pepsi because you're trying to hydrate in between beers? No, the caffeine, so I don't pass out and I can keep drinking. I don't want to fall asleep. There's still beer in the fridge, so I'll caffeinate myself so I can keep going.
Yeah, it's funny you said that.
I'll watch,
like, right before I decided to go sober, like, it was at least a day or two before, I bought a 12-pack. It's in the refrigerator. It's still in the refrigerator. Haven't touched it, but every time, you know, I open the refrigerator, it's like, you know, it's still there. Should I throw it away? Absolutely. I haven't. I don't know. Never got around to it.
So what's your thought on that? Because for some people that is too much. I know that the last day that I drank, there were 6 beers in the fridge, and I knew I was going to drink them if I didn't get rid of them. So I got rid of them, and they were delicious. Yeah, that's how I got rid of them, so I wouldn't be tempted by them. I drank them. So, you know, there was pouring them out wasn't even – that's when I knew I was done, but I had to get rid of the beer so that I wouldn't be tempted by the beer, so I drank it. You know, that's –
yeah, absolutely. You know.
Especially new in those first things. Now, right now, we do have beer in the fridge upstairs because my wife is a beer drinker. Yeah. She will, and I don't think it's a problem, but she'll get beer that she knows I don't like. Now, that wouldn't have stopped me, don't get me wrong, but at least that's possibly, you know, you salt the hell out of some food, maybe you won't be as tempted to eat it if it's covered with salt.
Right.
Maybe, you know, that might be a little bit of her philosophy, and maybe that does help. But not, you know, day one, that first couple of weeks for me, there was no beer in the fridge.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny, you know, my fiance, she works in the bars, she works in a few bars. You know, a lot of times I used to be her driver. You know, I'd go there back in the day. You know, I'd just drive her everywhere to every single bartending gig or show gig or whatever the case is. You know, she's more of a show person, So she would be in like shows, and I'd just be sitting around not doing anything. And what happens? Start drinking. And now it's like, I had to kind of take myself out of the situation. I said, hey, I mean, if you need, I can Uber you there. You can offer some other friends to help you out. I can come pick you up afterwards. Just as long as I'm not waiting there and just sitting there in anticipation or antsy, because that's why I'm so
very intolerant of drunk people. I don't care if they're drinking, but when they get drunk, that's that they, and God knows I was in that position forever, but it's not fun to be around. So did you just go cold turkey yourself? Did you do a rehab or what?
I actually I did go cold turkey. It doesn't work for everybody, from what I hear. I mean, it's worked for me so far. It wouldn't hurt for me to probably be in some more of a different type of support group. Or I think the person's number you gave me earlier, I already forgot his name, but we were texting. He said that it probably is a good idea to have some type of support group that you can be a part of, so that way you can kind of learn.
Well, you are right now, and you grow that. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's key, and our numbers are in mine. It's imperative, because if it's that pressure cooker. If when pressure builds up in that thing, which is energy, if you don't vent that off, the thing's going to explode. Well, my from the day, and I want to drink, that is, I feel that's energy inside of me, and if I don't let that out and vent that some way, somehow, and talking to people is a way to do it. So's running marathons, but that's too much work. I'd rather do something I can do from the couch with a remote control in hand, or a handheld, but a phone. Talking to someone is a way to vent that energy, and that takes that releases that pressure out of my body and allows me to relax and be able to deal with the cravings, or the mother-in-law that's not mine, of course, because I think she watches. But no, whatever is driving you crazy, you got to get that tension out, or I'll explode. I got that some way, somehow. And that's for each person, that's different. It's talking with you. It's going out and exercising for some people. It's working on a house. It's painting. It's knitting. I don't care what it is. It's something you got to release, or that's going to just continue to build and blow.
Yeah. Yesterday when I after I clocked out of work an hour early, because I knew that my fiance was getting out of work as well around the same time. And when I had a craving, I kind of, because I save more money now that I don't drink, obviously. It's only been almost 30 days. So I decided to just take us to a nice restaurant, like a very nice restaurant out in downtown Tampa. We went to Outback. It was a new location. But anyways, that was kind of trying to plan more activities, like whether if it's like, little small date ideas, go putt golfing or something like that. I don't know, anything. Bowling.
You drink alone?
I would drink alone, and I would make friends at the bar.
Yeah.
That's a big part socially. I've been working from home since March of last year, so I don't really go out at all now that I don't go to the bars. So I'm trying to figure out new ways to kind of keep myself distracted.
I preferred to drink alone. That's where it, not initially, obviously, but where it got just, it's a no judgment. I got to deal with the guy in the mirror. He's going to be judging me, but I can drink him away. I can't drink, other people's judgment of me away as easy. But that idle time alone, going from, I would spend a Friday night in the basement or in their garage drinking, doing whatever by myself, taking alcohol away. That was a problem in those same situations. Right. So I had to get a plan. And I guess my question to you is, like, for this weekend, do you already have a plan for this weekend for the most part? Or are you, and I'm not picking on you, I'm just talking, but I want to hear your response. Or are you just saying, no, I think I should be good. I hope I think I'll be okay. Is that your plan, or do you have a plan?
Well, ironically, I'm almost comfortable because on Saturday nights, my fiance does go to a show. They have karaoke, and that's sort of my thing. And it is at a bar that I'm familiar with, but also at the same time, all the bartenders know of my circumstance because they all know me. And then, I just get like cranberry juice or whatever on the rock. So I just do karaoke, distract myself, and surround my people. Sometimes it does get annoying though, because I've only tried this once, and that was 2 weeks ago. Since I've been sober, of going into a bar. It must be a joke somewhere, and it shouldn't be. It's not any advice you'd ever want to give to anybody, of course. But I did that, just to kind of prove that I'm stronger, that I can, that I have a willpower that's stronger than my environment.
Yeah, the only thing I think for me, I got nervous that I tried to over test myself.
Yeah,
and that's a little bit of a danger ground for me. I think I proved that a year ago at the my Super Bowl deal that
absolutely.
I'm good and I can do this, and I over tested myself and I failed miserably. So I don't know. That's a personal. It's got to be what your comfort level is. I don't want to have to be locked in the bathroom every weekend, and is the only chance I have of not drinking, because that's not how life works. Life is about being out, and we're going to be around people that drink. We're going to be around. I mean, our society is based around it,
Yeah.
And our society doesn't really give a rat's ass about the fact that you and I struggle with alcohol. It's about the masses, and that's you and I have to fit into that world.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
And that's
people like us, don't really belong in those situations. So I agree with Eric Drake, who just commented, you stop going to the bars. I definitely think, that's definitely something I should.
Yeah, for me, I don't have fun now we'll go out to dinner at a bar, whatever, but I don't mind going to a bar for a little bit but as soon as the drinking starts to pick up, it's not that I just don't have fun with it. I can't, people that they think they're funnier when they're drinking, which I think I was definitely funnier when I drank, but everyone else
so
not. They're obnoxious and idiots, but I was the exception to the rule. But they get loud and not funny, and it's just not fun for me. And my thing, I told my wife, I said, I have no problem. We'll go, but I will have my escape. And if you want to get a ride home and stay, but I will go, provided you understand that I reserve the right to leave when I want. And that's she's thrilled that I'm sober, so she has no problem with that. Thankfully.
Yeah, and I get pretty irritable, actually. Now that I'm sober, I'm starting to realize it more. But I do get pretty irritable when you are sober and you're the only sober one in the room.
Yep.
But
you're recognizing those feelings, and the only way, and I don't have answers for you on that, but if you're recognizing that, if you just ignore that and hope that goes away, it probably won't. So the fact that you're recognizing that, hey, I'm not having fun when I go to bars and have to listen to these idiots or watch these idiots get drunk.
Yeah.
Do I just hope that goes away and that changes, or do I figure a way to fix it? And it sounds like you're doing that. So.
I think I have to pretty much understand that, although it has been my crowd for a long time, it's no longer the crowd for me.
Yeah.
Just like you don't want to, as my mother used to always say, you're guilty by association, with the friends you hang around. Yep.
It's true. All right, buddy. Well, look, I'm going to let you go. We're over, but thanks everyone that was on. Hey, again, I'll be doing some impromptus. Tom's on tomorrow night at 8:00 from Hilton Head. And I think, and then I'm going to be Saturday morning. I'm still looking for anyone that wants to be on. Text me your name, email address, whatever. I'd love to have people on. I think Saturday morning we're just kind of wing it. So if anyone wants to just share and talk about how well they're doing, what their struggles are, say hi. Brent's going to do karaoke at 8:27. So no, we'll whatever, but we'd love to hear from you. But you can text me on the Cincy Sober cell at 513-313-6676. 513-313-6676. Angela, I don't know, because we're using this new StreamYard. I think it's going to be through the Facebook again, because StreamYard, if we did it just as a Zoom, we could only get 10 people on. I think I can get the link out to watch it. So where you could get on. I just can't have more than 10 people. I don't know. I'm still working the details out, but Angela, just I would love, we want to make this as accessible to anyone, whether it's Zoom, StreamYard, through the Facebook thing. We're figuring this thing out, and just everyone hugely support, appreciate the support you guys are giving and being here, because it's 9:15 on a Thursday night, and I'm not drinking, and I'm alone, and it's Super Bowl weekend. That's a pretty good sign for me. So thanks everyone. So Brent, thanks for coming on, buddy, and
absolutely.
And please check back with us, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care, everyone. Yeah, Angela, I will. We'll send out on the Facebook page some information on far as how we're gonna do this thing. We're gonna try to open as many doors as we can to make it as accessible as possible. So, thanks everyone. Have a great evening, and we'll talk to you soon. Be safe.